Alright folks, alright folks, alright.
Alright, yeah.
Welcome back.
This is BALATRO.
There's a sort of coming-of-age moment that's universal to the BALATRO experience. You look at your pants, you look at your square, oh yeah, it's all coming together. With smug confidence, you slam down the four of a kind, only the pants do not proc. Hark, whenceforth. What the hell, man? If "'cause the developer said so" is good enough for you, here is what Local Thunk, hallowed be the name, has to say on the matter. According to the rigid, arbitrary BALATRO rules, four of a kind does not technically contain two pair. So, there you go. Why doesn't four of a kind contain two pair? It just doesn't. But if you'd like more convincing, I have a couple different but related reasons laid out that'll hopefully break down the issue. First, let's examine this passage a little bit closer, because this is more than a statement about this one mechanic. Local Thunk provides context for his position by giving a glimpse at his goals and general philosophy when designing the game. Rigid legalese, rules, and technicalities. Local Thunk wants the players to become attuned to the wording of the game's mechanics, because those words are the rules that the game will follow, and the rules need to be both clearly defined and strictly adhered to. And this makes sense. Think about the gameplay of BALATRO. You're essentially building this Rube Goldberg machine of different triggers and synergies as you progress through a run. These rules, the words underneath the jokers, are all the moving pieces, and you can't have an ill-defined piece of a machine, you know, a vague gear. It's a gear. It has a defined fit and function to let it interface with other clearly defined parts. What this boils down to is that the choice of words for the game's descriptions is very deliberate. It not only informs us how we should think, but it tells us how the game thinks. And this brings me to reason number one. It's the simplest and the one that seems to be the developer's official stance. That's hand type definitions. In the run info menu, each hand type has a definition associated with it. And this isn't just polish. The player is meant to refer to these words to inform them about future interactions. So, okay, what do the words say? Two pairs defined as two pairs of cards with different ranks, four of a kind, four cards with the same rank. Treating this as rigid legalese, as the game is designed to do, it means that the two pair that Spare Trousers looks for is two pairs of cards with different ranks. Which means if the pants don't find different ranks, it is unable to see the two pair hand, even if it does see two pairs. And this explanation can be a little unsatisfying to some people, and I get it, it's very technically correct and can feel like a sidestepping of the broader point that, come on, there's two pairs there. This one and that one. Wait, no, I mean this one and this one. Wait. Reason number two is math. Let's say you're making BALATRO and you're trying to make a consistent system for checking hand types wherein four of a kind does contain two pair exactly the same way that a full house contains two pair. Description be damned, you're just gonna make it happen. Now we as humans with our human brains can look at these four identical cards and pretty easily see how it could be grouped as two separate pairs, but a computer is a lot more pedantic. If all it does is check for all groups of two matching ranks in the hand, otherwise known as a pair, this system actually sees 6 ways to group pairs out of 4 identical ranks, and this is a necessary consequence of every rank being the same. So, why is this a problem? Who cares if it sees more than two pairs? Just make it trigger when it sees at least two pairs. There's no difference to the player which two pairs are being counted. Well, if you wanted to keep this consistent, this system would consider three of a kind to contain two pair. There's 3 ways to group pairs out of 3 identical cards. Now, I think most people who want four of a kind to contain two pair would agree that three of a kind should not. Unless you play cribbage, that's actually how scoring works in that game. But it's British, so we don't it's not like this couldn't be avoided. It actually could in a couple ways. You could manually exclude three of a kind from two pair checks. You could manually include four of a kind. Hell, why not just sit down and individually create cases for every hand that contains other hands? Not only is this horribly inefficient for coding a video game, but hard coding exceptions all over the place like this can erode away the vast web of emergent gameplay allowed for by the current design. What is... Oh, shit, I said the thing. Hold on. I have to put this on for the next part of the... They'll come take me away. What do you know about red seals? Look at the description. Look at the wording. Retrigger this card 1 time. Succinct. Elegant. Art. These 5 words communicate so much information to you, the player, and it does this without you even realizing. You utter buffoon. I'm sorry. On the BALATRO iceberg, this isn't super deep knowledge, but if you didn't know, red seals interact with in-hand triggers. A red seal gold or steel card will trigger an additional time. Kings with a red seal will trigger Baron again. Red seal queens for shoot the moon, raised fist, reserved parking. You think all of these were told case by case what to do with a red seal? It is current year and we have video game technology. Computers are really good for making and pulling from complicated systems. The whole rigid legalese thing can be set up on the back end so that while you're designing all your individual parts, there can be interactions that you didn't even have in mind when making it.
My card. This is a 7 of diamonds. Yeah.
Red seals work like this because the mechanic of a trigger in the game is one consistent rigid process. Whether or not a card is being scored or being interacted with in a different area of play, it is a trigger. The same trigger. So it only makes sense that things which interact with triggers will do it anywhere. If a new player on their own doesn't connect the dots on this immediately after reading the description, there's this moment when stumbling across the interaction where they go and read the description again, and it becomes recontextualized. Those same 5 words now tell them something they might not have known before. It further defines what a trigger is and how they work. The player has gained new information, understands old information on a new layer, and has become better at the game. And this is the kind of robust, quality design allowed for by Local Thunk's philosophy, which could potentially slip through the cracks in pursuit of what was this about again? Oh, okay, right, yeah. Given all the evidence, we can only deduce that a hot dog cannot be a sandwich when it is so clearly a taco.